ass off, bro! I have the high ground!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survive. On the Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. We are here for our final post-game interview. We're talking to Corey, who finished 6th place in Heroes versus Villains. And of course, because she couldn't stay away, we have Pirate Sarah co-hosting this episode.
I just, there's some sort of magnetism. I accidentally added her to this too, maybe?
Yeah, I accidentally ended up with the Zoom link. Oops.
Ooh.
That works. But yeah, welcome to the podcast, Corey.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about your game this season on Heroes versus Villains. And so I guess let's just start with like you getting into the game and getting the invite and everything. So what was your strategy like initially going to be going into the game?
Okay, so yeah, I played 2 games about a year ago last year, and I was done. Like, I did not want to play again. I was over it. And then Sarah Wolf had texted me and was like, "Hey, Jake's putting together Heroes versus Villains. I really want you to play. It's a mini, so you don't have to commit that much time." And I was like, "Oh, let me think about it." Like, my partner was like, "No, do not do this again." Because I lose myself in the game, but in like a
Yeah.
fun way. But anyway, what really got me to say yes was that it was Heroes versus Villains, because obviously it's like the most iconic season of Survivor. I knew I was going to be a villain, although I questioned it publicly, but like I knew I knew I needed to be a villain. Um, and so yeah, I think in my first game that made me a villain, I guess. I don't think I necessarily my strategy wasn't villainous and my like alliances and stuff like that, but my personality was definitely villainous. Like I put my full just personality on display and bring out certain parts of it to either help or hurt or whatever.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I can do this for a weekend. I was thinking there was gonna be like no pre-gaming or anything. I wasn't sure of who was gonna be on the cast, but I figured I'd see some familiar faces. So that was kind of what like when I said yes. Then the cast rolls out and I'm like, okay, I'm like looking down the list and I'm like, Jenny, Kenna, 2 people I worked with previously um, in my first game. And I keep going and I'm like, oh, Debbie, somebody who I notoriously like blindsided the hell out of.
Yeah.
Um, and then had to sit on a jury with her and like hear about it for 2 weeks. Anyway, so I was a little nervous, and then I saw Sarah, and I had already played with Jenny and Kenna, so I was excited for that. I was nervous about Debbie, but I was so excited to play with Sarah. I think in our original game, we were on opposite tribes. We got swapped. We were still on opposite tribes, and she got voted out pre-merge. So, not to call you out, Sarah, but Um, and I was like so disappointed, even though it was like good for my alliance in that game. I wanted to meet her. Like I knew our personalities aligned. Everybody told me that I reminded them of her, like after she was gone. So I was like, I'm excited to play with her. Like more than anything, I don't care about winning. I
Mhm.
mean, kind of, but like I really didn't. I was like, I want to play with her, see how she plays. I know we're gonna talk shit. I know we are gonna have fun. So I was like super excited about that. Okay, then things start rolling and pregame starts happening. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember texting Sarah Wolf and I was like, Sarah, you told me this was just a mini. You told me that there was not going to be any pre-gaming. I don't want to do this. Like, I wasn't mentally prepared for this. Because when I play a game, I play it seriously and hard. Like, I pay
Right.
attention to it. And I just wasn't ready for that. But this is the most fun I've ever had in a game, I'm not gonna lie. So, um, anyway, pre-gaming starts rolling around, and like immediately Sarah and I talk, and she's like, "Look, we're good. I'm so excited to play with you. I know she's followed some of my previous games. I've followed some of her games. So we've kind of like stayed in touch with each other, but like no real conversation. So I was like, okay, good. Like we have each other. Debbie as soon as the cast was dropped, I had 42 messages on my phone at work, and I was like, you know, then she drops out, and I'm like, oh my God, this could be good for me. Because I was like, iffy. I felt Debbie like would be like dying to blindside me, 100%. Even though I know she was saying she would want to work with me, I think she would want to blindside me because I was her first ever blindside. Like the game we played was the first time she had ever played. So um, I thought I was kind of happy she wasn't playing, but yeah. Then Jenny dropped, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm losing all the people that I could potentially be working with. Um, yeah, and so that was kind of all my pre-gaming. I did not talk to a single person who actually ended up playing the game except for Sarah, and even our talks pre-game were very short,
Hmm.
very minimal. Um, just like, yeah, we're gonna work together. She kept telling me like I'll give you all the tea on everybody on our tribe and what's
I was
going
like,
on with
yeah,
all of
I will
them.
give you all the details on these filthy, dirty liars.
Yes. And I think we both just like kept putting it off because and that told me she feels comfortable with me because she feels comfortable to put it off. She doesn't feel the need to have that conversation right away. And I also wasn't pushing to have the conversation. So I think it was like we're on the same wavelength. Neither of us is like overly stressed or like too laid back. We're like right in the same spot,
Hmm.
which makes it easy like comfort from the beginning. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when your energies don't match, but you're working together, it's not going to work. Um, Foreshadowing for Chatterbox. Um, so that's where it was pregame. Um, and then when the game actually gets going, I lose Kenna too. And I'm like, oh my
Right.
God. Because like had Kenna been there at Merge, this would have been a completely different game. If I made Merge and Kenna made Merge. The game would have gone so completely differently because we would have actually had a hero that would have been really willing to work with us. And in particular, my game would have been very different because I would have had a hero that I knew I could trust 100%.
Hmm.
Um,
Kenna's a hero by day, but a villain by night, I'll tell you.
she
I
is. She is.
I
Uh,
loved watching some of her game in season 7 because she was not afraid to snipe people out.
yeah, I'm
No, she'll
so
cut your
sad.
throat, smile at you while doing it. She's something else.
She was my number one ally. I that was under wraps the entire game that we played, but she
Mm.
was actually my number one ally in that game. And she was just as villainous as I was. And she honestly was even more outspoken than I was at times. When she called
Mm.
Sarah out,
Yeah, that was hilarious, honestly.
I was like, whoa. And 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 she's told me since like she couldn't deal with like Sura calling me out, and I was like, oh Kenna, like you don't have to stick up for me. I can deal with like I was like pretending to be all emotional, like I didn't care. I was like, I was like, you didn't have to do that, but like that's good. Be loud, put a target on you, so it's not on me. And I went home next anyway, but anyway, so I was really disappointed. I'm like, oh my God, like this is not working out for me. But like at least I still had Sarah, who I was excited to work with anyway. So
Mhm.
Sarah was obviously gonna be on my original starting tribe. So yeah, that was kind of my thoughts going into it is I'm like, damn, I've already essentially lost 5 people.
Right.
So then I was like, well, I'm just gonna have fun with this. I'm not taking it too seriously. Like, yeah, I want to win. I am competitive as hell, as you guys saw.
Mhm.
But and I love, love, love this game. But I've come into games in the past like playing super hard. I'm really good at making early connections and kind of setting up how the game is gonna go for at least like 4 or 5 rounds. Like I'm really great at like the first part of the game. But
Mhm.
I
We're like the same person.
what's that?
Except we're like the same person. Like I pride myself on being able to control the first boot and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's
Oh,
like my
100%. On my first game, the first night I gave an order of 4 people, first 4 people gone from my tribe. Like it's like it's just it, like I don't want to say it's easy, but like
Mhm.
my personality fits well with that. I can get
Right.
along with everybody, mostly because I can be really fucking fake when it's to
Yeah,
mess
for
with
sure.
them.
Yeah, and people don't care as long as it's not them too. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And then you
So
Right.
yeah,
exploit that. Yeah.
for sure.
So this game, I was like, my goal is to not be the biggest target at like the first, second, or third vote after merge, because that's always where I've gone home,
Right.
or
Same.
somewhere around there. Um, I've never made it like super, super deep into a game, but I always make merge with numbers. Um, foreshadowing for this one too.
Yep.
Um, so anyway, yeah, that's where I was coming into the game. That was kind of my mindset that I was planning to bring my personality, have fun, get to know people, mostly for game reasons. Like I don't need more friends, but um, for game reasons, I was gonna make connections and really try to be a little bit more quiet. Not try to have like a strategic stronghold or anything like that. Just not anybody but me, but definitely less leading than I've been in the past. Um, whether that was my choice or not in the previous games. But
Right.
I just always kind of found myself leading my alliance, choosing the best strategies or like whatever I suggested always seemed to be the one people want to go with. And I really didn't want to do that this time. I wanted to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more moldable, more adaptable, and not get stuck in like any one specific type of play.
Right.
And yeah, none of that really worked out, but that was my mindset going in.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have, honestly. And like, I think it's a good thing when people are able to like adapt and change their game up from the last time they played, and you definitely did that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I had to do too. Like, I mean, even in that long game I was playing in, like, everyone knows I fucking love video chatting people and calling people. So, like, this time, like, I did want to call, like, you, Corey, and, like, Rachel, because, like, I was tight with you guys, whatever. But, like, I let everybody else want to come to call me instead of me initiating things. And, like, I just wanted to change everything up. So, yeah, I totally get it. Like Corey said, you just have to learn to be adaptable to every situation you put yourself in. And that's how you navigate games for sure.
right.
Yeah. I think the theme of this season also helped me to do that. Like knowing I was going to be on the villains tribe. I think a lot of people are villains because of the strategy and the way they play, but I think most of us were villains because of our personalities and like being bold. So I was like, I'm going to be a little bit different here. I'm going to adapt and be a little less loud, a little less showy than I typically am naturally. And so that kind of like lended itself to why I was going in with that strategy. And just before we start talking about how the game actually went and start talking about other people, I
Right.
just want to give a disclaimer.
A
Um,
legal disclaimer.
literally, I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and like the things I say typically do. I'm not intending to hurt anybody's feelings, but I am giving all of my answers and everything purely through my perspective and my opinion of while I was playing the game. It's not
Mhm.
exactly necessarily how I feel now about people. It's just how I was feeling while I was a player reacting to those people in the game.
Mhm.
Um, and I also definitely understand that my perspective is not the only one that exists. I've listened to
Right.
some of these other interviews, and it seems that people like forget that you might be being lied to, or you don't know how somebody else is playing the game. So I am not discrediting or discounting that the information I had at the time could be wrong, but I don't want to say that every time I say something, so I'm saying it now.
Yeah,
People could have
perfect.
been lying to me. I might not have all the 100% accurate information, but um, yeah, just giving responses based on my perspective and what I was thinking and how I was reacting.
Right. Perfect. That makes
And I
sense.
would just like to say, legal disclaimer, I fucking hate you, Kevin. So,
Yes.
Had to be mentioned again. All
of
right.
course.
Well, let's get into now that the game has started, and Corey, you get kind of put all of a sudden into this chatterbox group of
Yeah.
five, and you can definitely give your honest opinion on how you feel about these people that are in your five. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, the game starts rolling, chats start coming out. First person I really connect with, Sarah and I, like I said, we were already kind of good. We knew where we stood, so I didn't feel the need to like constantly check in. Like we were each gonna go play, do our thing, and then we get back to each other. And it's how it worked out, really, from my perspective. Rachel was the person I really connected with the earliest. We had a lot of talks. We talked about Botox and boys and spas and fashion and hair and um, just good old fun stuff for us. So Rachel and I were like connecting. We were talking about our lives. We weren't talking strategy, but like you could tell that we were vibing that way,
Mhm.
and strategically I felt like we were going to work together pretty well. So that's where I felt that immediate spark and connection. So it's like, okay, I have Sarah, I have Rachel. Um, at that point, Amy started talking to me pretty early, but Amy kind of approached me in a very clinical way. I'm not surprised to hear that she was a forensic nurse because she kind of spoke to me as if she was a forensic nurse. And like, I'm an orthodontist, I'm a doctor, like I work in that field too,
Mhm.
but like mine requires a lot of personality and stuff like that. And so I'm just a little bit different. I just felt like everything with Amy was like very cut and dry. Like there was no, it was like a lack of humor and like I don't know, it just felt very like vanilla and
Mhm.
like I don't know, I wasn't entertained. Um and I need some of that. I need to be having fun if I'm going to work with somebody. And
Yeah.
so, but I was obviously keeping the conversation going, kind of giving her what she was giving me. And she said very early on, like, let's look out for each other in this game. And I was like, okay. And at that time, I had no idea about Sarah and Amy not liking each other and their previous history and stuff. But I was like, okay, like, of course, I'm going to agree to that. Like, you have to. But in my head, I was like, I don't know how long this is going to really go. Like, I can't work with people that like it's just not naturally there. It felt forced to me on both ends. Like it felt like it was forced from her, and then
Mhm.
I in turn was forcing it. But like I was like, let's see how it goes. Like I'm not gonna burn a bridge before the game started, you know, and before we like go into a tribal or whatever.
Right.
And then I had kind of mentioned to Amy, oh, I haven't heard from Ryan, and like I maybe said another couple other people. And then like very quickly Ryan reached out to me. So Ryan, I saw in his interview was like, yeah, nobody really knew. Amy was my number one. I knew from day one that she was your number one. It was so obvious. It was like that was the first clue to me is like if I say I haven't heard from somebody to Amy and then
Mhm.
that person then messages me within 3 minutes.
Right.
I mean, who else? It's life's not that random, you know? So anyway, I knew that they were working together closely, so that was like good information, put it in the back of my mind, right? And then started having chats with him, learned very quickly, loved to talk about himself. I do too. We all do.
Yeah.
We
We
all
all
do.
do.
But like some of us have the self-awareness, not saying he doesn't, but some of us have the self-awareness to know like, okay, the other person hasn't spoken in 47 minutes.
Mhm.
Now it might be a good time to let them.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I never felt like he and I had like a really strong bond because he probably doesn't know anything about me. Like he never really got a chance to like ask me any questions about myself. He talked a lot about himself, told me a lot about his acting, his YouTube thing. I never knew what the fuck he was talking about, to be honest, but I was like, yeah, oh my God, yeah, I'll check it out. Um, anyway, just things you
And
gotta do in the
then,
game. You know, bend over backwards to get an ally to keep the name off of you.
yeah.
And then JJ rolled around and he and I had had some chats and I knew JJ's time was limited, or at least that's the perception he was giving. And so I wanted to make sure that the time we did have was like good and he felt solid with me and whatever. So that's kind of like my initial impressions of them. I didn't get a whole lot from JJ, but what I got was pretty good and I just wanted to make sure he wasn't thinking of me. Um then I can't remember the specific time frame, but at some point after we've talked to everybody, you know, people kind of started saying like, well, I haven't heard from Sarah and Jen and Cody and Brandon, but like, you know, I've talked to these people. And so it was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, I've talked to these four, I've talked to these four, I've talked to these four, I've talked to these four. Okay, now we're an alliance of five.
Yeah.
Um, so somebody created the chat and named it chatterboxes because we were like the only ones talking. I mean, Sarah and I were definitely talking here and there on the sides, and I knew Sarah was talking to other people too,
Right.
but but yeah, I went with it. And it seemed like if people thought that those were the only people talking, but I knew that wasn't true, that's good for me, right? That means I know more information. Um, so that was kind of the creation of Chatterbox. Um, for sure, had this been like a day or two into the, or a vote or two into the game, I would have never really committed to this alliance. But because it was like day one, before we had ever gone to any challenge or tribals,
Right.
You have to say yes to anything. Because like it wasn't like the ideal group that I wanted to work with, but I did agree it was the group that was like talking the most. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best strategic group for you to be with. So that's kind of how I was approaching it. Is I'm like, yeah, I'm agreeing to be in this, but I knew that I was number four, number five in that.
Right.
It was very, very apparent. They talked more than I did. I knew that Amy and Ryan had been talking well before he ever reached out to me. And so it was never one that I was like truly committed to for like the full game, but I 100% made them think that that was the case. And it seemed like it worked because I heard in your interview with Ryan, he was like, Chatterboxes was solid. Chatterboxes would have like gone to Final Five. No, the fuck we wouldn't. No, no, no. That was never my intention.
Oh my God.
That no. Um, yeah, like anyway. So then after that, uh let's see.
Then you guys, the game starts and you guys win the first three immunities.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Fucking beast.
before that, Sarah had started a chat with Rachel and Brandon and me. I
Mhm.
don't remember the name of Fiendish Four. Does that
The
sound right?
finger
I think
four,
that is
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So that happened before actually the first challenge, and immediately I'm like, okay, good. Like I'm in both chats. I'm on both sides. I know information. At that point, like I didn't have any like true loyalty to anyone because like nothing had happened yet. You don't really know until you have a first vote. But like I felt like I was not going to be targeted at the first vote, so I felt good, solid on my feet.
Mhm.
And I felt like we would know which side would target. So immediately I messaged Rachel and I'm like, okay, we're clearly kind of in the middle here. I was like, there's no need to commit to either group right now. And I didn't want Rachel to know where I was kind of leaning in terms of commitment, which honestly, it wasn't even like the Fiendish Four. It was like I knew I was going to work with Sarah and I knew I was going to work with Rachel.
Mhm.
I also did like Brandon, but like that's where my like two allegiances were. And then like the multiple alliances was more so to just make sure my name wasn't really coming up, or if it did, a majority wouldn't put votes on me. Um, so yeah, that's how kind of the initial structure looked for me going into the first challenges. Um, yeah, and so then going into the first challenge. I was really excited. This is my first time to get to play a scavenger hunt, so I was super excited to get to play. In my first game, I had a delayed flight, and so I was flying back to Austin during it, and luckily my tribe won.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I probably would have gone home first. But anyway, so I was really excited to get to play in it. It was really fun. I didn't know if we would have that challenge in a mini just because it can sometimes take a long time.
Right.
But I thought you guys did it well where you eliminated two people each round. I thought that was a good way to keep it short.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, it was fun to play and I was excited. And then I fucking went out on the round where you ask for holiday shit because I am super anti-religion. No offense to anybody who is. It's just that's my thing. I don't,
Right.
Um, and I don't celebrate any holidays because there's like no holidays that aren't like around some sort of religious thing.
Right.
Um, but I did remember afterwards I had a pride flag. So I wanted to ask you, would you have considered a pride flag a holiday item?
I think I probably would have, yeah.
Cool, because I would have argued if you didn't. Um, but I'm so mad I thought of it after the fact because I just kind of gave up. I was just like, oh shit, I don't have anything. And then I saw it outside, like in one of our little plants, and I was like, oh, could have grabbed that. Anyway, so I had fun playing that. We won. We didn't even have to use our advantage to win. So that was awesome. And I was like, okay, good. We got like a strong tribe. I knew Sarah was really good at challenges. I remembered that from our game. She knew I was really good at challenges because of a previous game I played. And so I was like kind of unsure where everybody else was because I didn't really watch all their seasons. I didn't know a lot about them on my
Right.
tribe.
I
And
know I heard Neo went back and watched all of Vanquish 7, 8, 9. I was
Yeah.
like, oh damn, he saw all our shit.
I know. I know. Oh, he even called me out a little bit in his thing, in his interview. He said that when I first met him, that I said in my first game, like, my original alliance stuck together the entire time, and I felt like I really couldn't move or maneuver, and so it clued him in that I would be willing to flip on my tribe. But like, I wasn't lying. And
Right.
that's, I think, the most important thing when you're talking about the previous season that you played, especially if somebody secretly went back and watched it, is that
Right.
I didn't
Exactly.
lie.
Right.
Like I told you the truth. And I didn't say I wanted to flip on them. I'm just saying that's how the game went.
Right.
Like my alliance stuck together the entire time, and I personally felt like it was kind of inflexible. Like I couldn't really maneuver or like try to work with the other side, which is why Debbie ultimately got the blindside that she got.
Right.
And I didn't have a vote. So it's like, anyway.
No,
So,
and it was kind of like the heroes of this game. Like those 4 or 5 were not willing to budge on each other to whereas the
right,
villains just fucking imploded.
Right. Exactly.
right. Which is like way more fun for me. Like, I don't care I mean, I guess I care. I wanted a villain to win for sure. But like, I, I didn't care necessarily if I won or lost. Like, I wanted it to be fun and I wanted there to be some villain chaos.
Mhm.
Um, we could not play like heroes would play. And like they played exactly how heroes would play. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm sorry, but if any of you enjoy watching the Heroes tribe on the original Heroes versus Villains, and then you want to call yourself a hero after that, you're fucking lame. You are lame. I mean, you
Yeah.
be Rupert. Like, other than the pirate connection there, like
Yeah.
Oh,
be
you're good.
Rupert.
And
He
that's
wants
why
to
I'm
be
like,
like
Kevin
noble.
cannot, yeah, that's why I'm like, Kevin cannot be Rupert because like Kevin is such a villain. Like he was the first to like, we talked as soon as Merge hit, I called Kevin and we were both just like, these people are fucking insane.
Yeah.
And we just started laughing. Like he is just like, whatever, I'll vote all of them out, whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Kevin definitely gives off villain energy for sure.
Right.
Um, but I guess he fits the mold in his previous games. He's always targeted, and then he makes it to the end.
And he's a
And
popular player. Like,
yeah, yeah.
He
So I get why he was designated a hero. And he's like fun and he's like super likable.
mhm.
So he laughs at everything he says, which like just like intrinsically annoys me when people do that. But he's absolutely lovely. I love talking to him in this game. But I could definitely see why he's a hero. But I think everybody plays like a villain a little bit, and
True.
I feel like the ones who get cast as villains are like the ones who like live in that truth, and the ones who get cast as heroes are like the ones who like just aren't willing to accept themselves yet.
Right. And their egos get in the way.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so you guys win the first three immunities, first four challenges because there was a reward challenge, but
Oh
then
yeah, that was the reward challenge. The
flip cup.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So we get through the first four challenges. You guys win four in a row, and then you get to your first loss, courtesy of Neo. And
Right.
so this is where Jen goes and walk me through this vote.
Okay. So Jen never said a single word to me at all
Mhm.
until that. Like until we were there and we lost. Like she had never
Yeah.
responded to my message. Um So I didn't really know Jen. I've seen Jen play a couple times. I've seen Jen also make it far in a lot of games. I think she's really, really good at the game, but I never saw a lot of her personality. I've seen a lot of her like fighting for her life, and I felt when we lost that challenge, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I've seen of Jen before, and like, no offense, but like, I'm not gonna let that happen in this game. Like I like her and she was somebody I was probably really excited to get to know because I have seen her before a couple times. And she seems fun, but like she always ends up staying because she like plays on emotion and gives good reasons as to why she hasn't talked or why you shouldn't vote her out. But
Right.
like, with Jen gone, I was aligned with everybody
Right.
and with the dynamic of Amy and Sarah hating each other, which I had since found out, or not, maybe hate's too strong of a word, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
They were never going to work together, and it was
Right.
very apparent. It's like, okay, I'm not really gonna get found out that I'm playing the middle, and if anybody does find out that I am kind of playing the middle, well, so is Rachel, and so I can throw her under the bus, even though I love her and I wouldn't want to do that. But, you know, I felt like I had wiggle room in it. Like, if Sarah found out I was playing the middle, it's like, well, what are you going to do? Work with these other people you don't want to work with? And
Hmm.
then Amy and them did kind of find out I was playing the middle, so I'll talk about that later.
Right.
But yeah, so my thoughts going in was like Jen has to go. She's giving her little spiel. I'm doing my typical like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, Rachel's not here. Her electricity's out. We should get her out. Yeah, it makes sense because she couldn't really show up. And I'm like, it's really interesting to me though that Jen was giving the reason she should stay was all the excuses, valid excuses that she had to not talk to us for the first 2 days,
Hmm.
but then say Rachel should go home because her electricity went out and now can't talk.
Right.
I just thought that was a little bit interesting. So when Neo came back and saved Rachel, I was like, fuck yes. Like I was super excited about that because I didn't really know. I think we were all kind of playing along and saying we were going to vote Rachel out until Neo came back and told us um, that Rachel was safe. But like I 100% was voting Jen the entire time. I just
Hmm.
didn't really know exactly where everybody else was at with their vote because we were all stuck in one place. Like nobody was like breaking out and talking and we couldn't message. So I didn't really know what other people were thinking. So him saving Rachel just kind of confirmed for me like, okay, yeah, Jen's the vote. Like I don't even have to worry about it.
Hmm.
Um and also she was like throwing all this heat on him and wanting him to be the vote. And I was like, perfect. Like this is what I wanted to happen. We knew he would blow himself up. We knew he would, make a target of himself. Sarah and I had talked about that from very early on in the game.
Hmm.
So we were like, okay, yeah, it's happening. And like, yeah, we're gonna keep him and he's gonna survive this vote, but like it's gonna happen again and again and again until he goes, right?
Right.
And so I think if you're playing chess or and you're playing Survivor, you always kind of save these pieces that you want to go later. And it's like he was just like one of those people who was that I always viewed as like there's no way he's going to go long. He's going to last longer than me. That's
Right.
kind of how I viewed him. So it's like, as long as he's there, I'm good. And you just push him out in front of me. Like Sarah said in the game, Regina George pushed his ass in front of the bus. Although Regina George is way cooler than him. But
Dang. All right. Well, so you guys do win the last immunity challenge before the merge, but I did want to get your thoughts on the summit before we move on to night two. So, what did you think of the summit twist?
so I kind of hurt myself here, I guess, with the summit. Because of the way the journey or the summit or Treasure Island or whatever the fuck it was called on season 7,
Yeah.
because that shit played how it played out for me in my season, which if anybody listening does not know, which I'm sure you don't, but I was brought there, did not send myself. I was brought there 4 fucking times in my season and I lost my vote every single time. And none of them was like the whole if you both risk and you lose your vote. No, I would risk the other person. I talked them out of risking or convinced them not to risk. And then they would like, okay, good. You're the only person who risked. Here's your reward. Here's 3 keys. Here's 3 treasure chests. Pick one. Oh, sorry, you lost your vote. Oh, sorry, you lost your vote. Oh, sorry, you lost. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so I was traumatized.
You got brought there?
Every time, Sarah. I never brought
How did
myself.
you get brought there though? I fucking dug so for those 9 goddamn flags.
Oh, wait. Okay, so wait. Okay, one of the I went more than 4 times. I lost my vote at it 4 times, and I was brought 4 times, but I went twice with the flags.
Fuck you, Corey.
Yeah.
I got voted out with 9 flags.
Basically, I was over Sapphire Strong, and I was like, I'm moving to Treasure Island. You
I'm
know,
moving there.
don't get me wrong, I did not hate everybody in Sapphire. I really didn't. And the 5 that were left in the merge were the 5 I curated and picked to be there. But like I am not a tribe strong
Yeah.
player. I think that doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't interest me. I'll say it all day long, and I will make you think I fucking believe it. And I'll
Right.
make you think it's my personality. But that for future, well, I'm never playing again. But if anybody ever plays with me, just know I'm not about that life. And so anyway, I was traumatized from that because I lost my vote 4 times. So when we knew that journeys were going to be a thing, I kind of prefaced the entire tribe. I was like, I'm not fucking going.
Mhm.
Don't pick me. Don't let them pick me. If we go, I'm not risking anything. It's not happening. And Sarah kind of said the same thing. Sarah, you didn't get to go to the summit, did you, in our game?
No, it
You're
was
the only.
asked like the first time who wants to go, and I said I don't want to go because like
Right,
that just puts a target on you. Like people are gonna be like, oh, that you got something, and
right,
obviously coming into the game, I was already like a target, so no fucking thank you.
right. That's how I approached it too. So I was like, okay, cool. We're not going, whatever. Um, but like I knew I would find out information from it because again, I had alliances on both sides. I was kind of working with everybody, or at least had information from everybody. So I really liked the twist you guys did on the summit. I really thought this was like an amazing idea for a summit, putting a vote on somebody or putting safety on somebody, announcing it before like at tribal. I just thought that was like Survivor needs to come up with twists like that. That's so much more interesting than anybody losing a vote.
Right.
Um, I just thought that was brilliant. Like really, really, whoever came up with that, if it was you, Jake, great
Yeah, it
job.
was me. Um,
That I really thought that was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I did not want it to be like Treasure Island and people losing a vote. I hate that happening, and the fact that the new era just keeps doing it is just stupid. So I was
Yeah.
like, I want this twist to be something that fits with the theme, and like people don't have to worry about people not having their votes at tribals, and because I think everybody should have the power to vote every time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, me not having my vote, ultimately it was my fault because like I kept risking it because I was like, it can't possibly happen again.
Right.
Um, of course, on the last time that I went, I got something and it was like an advantage in a challenge at the final six. And I'm like, we're at the final nine and I'm about to fucking go home. Like this is
Mhm.
useless. Anyway, but so yeah, I just thought it was really a cool idea. And
Mhm.
so, but I had prefaced my tribe, I don't want to go. Like, don't send me. So I can't remember who went first, JJ?
It was Jen that went the first
Oh,
round.
Jen. Oh, yes. Okay. And I actually was kind of like, I thought it was funny that Jen was going. I know Ryan was not happy about it. He was like, "Oh, it can't be her. She's the vote." Like, in reality, I didn't care who got voted out as long as it wasn't me.
Right.
I didn't think Sarah would get voted out first. I didn't think Rachel would get voted out first. So, like, yeah, I wanted it to be Jen, but like, you got to be more flexible than that in a
Right.
game, especially in early stages. Um, so I kind of thought it was funny that like we let Jen go, just for chaos reasons. And so, yeah, when she went and she came back and told us what it was, I was like, okay, like maybe there would be a time I would want to go, and like,
Mhm.
but I don't want to switch it up on people. Like, I don't want them to be like, well, he didn't want to go then, now he wants to go. Like, why does he want to go now? I didn't want to do that, so I never got to go, and it was fine. I didn't really want to talk to the heroes. I didn't care.
Mhm.
To get to know them, like uh, it could have helped, but in reality, what in a themed season like Heroes versus Villains, we've always seen it play out where like you really do stick to your original tribal lines. It did in the original season, somewhat so in the Australian version as
Yeah.
well. So like I kind of expect it. It's just something about theme seasons like brings the tribe together a little bit more, the starting tribes together a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I thought even if I talked to a hero it may just make me a bigger target. And I was like not looking to have any sort of target.
Right.
So um so yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea and I never got picked to go. And I thought it was funny that like Neo was like upset because he and JJ wanted to go so bad, but like the first few times like we let other people go.
Right.
Um so he's just like getting irritated. Um so that was just some fun on my end. And then um yeah, that's what I know of it. Oh, and then um the emoji thing happened when
Yeah.
Brandon was at the summit. So then he comes back and he like told me about that because we were working together with me, Sarah, Rachel, and Brandon, and he told us that he was upset because the emoji came out then, and I thought it was funny because I kind of knew Sarah had the idol, or I really, really highly suspected Sarah
Mhm.
had the idol, and I have a funny way of how I found out Sarah had the idol that I will add later.
Yeah.
I don't think she knows how I found out. Um, and so yeah, I heard Neo say like nobody knew that the emoji was the idol in his interview.
Yeah,
Uh, Everybody, I imagine, knew. I knew really quickly. Yeah, I missed it the first time, but like I sent it and tried to claim it, and I was told it's already been claimed, so I knew it was an idol.
right,
But of course, I'm not gonna tell everybody that because
right,
then you know that I'm capable of finding idols. And
right,
so, of course, I said, "Oh my God, I hearted it. I hearted it after I already tried to send it. I hearted it or liked it in the chat just to make people think that I was dumb. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, because who would openly like an idol?
right.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh my God, I feel like such an idiot because I hearted it. Oh my, I'm so stupid. Now everybody's gonna think I have it. And everybody's like, no, no, they won't. You just liked it because it was cute. And I was like, exactly. That's exactly why I liked it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because like none of the villains picked up or at least sent anything the first round, and then the second round, as soon as Brandon and Greg went to the summit, then both tribes picked up on what was happening. So,
Right. So I will say I am stupid. Like, I did see it. I was probably the first person to see it when you first sent it. But I
mhm.
was like, oh, Jake's just trying to like get our attention. Like he's calling the villains to order. That's really what my head was thinking. Like, oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. But yeah, then the second time I was like, oh, it's an idol. So then I tried to claim it. I was told it was already claimed. And so then I was like, I'll heart it. Just so whoever got it knows I know, and like, and then I use that to my advantage of making people realize like, oh, he didn't get it or whatever.
Right.
Um, so because of that, Neo brought it up, Brandon brought it up, Rachel kind of talked about it, Amy talked about it. So everybody had kind of talked about it, and they could have been lying, of course, but like they all kind of seemed like their stories made sense. So I was suspecting that Sarah had it, but like I didn't need to push that. I didn't need to know that. That was fine. If she had it, didn't matter to me. Um, I'd rather her have it than somebody like Neo, somebody like JJ, somebody who, or like Amy, who like they could have it and I would never know, and it could potentially hurt me down the line.
Right.
Obviously, Sarah could use it to hurt me as well, but like I don't know, for whatever reason, that was the alliance I was with, and that's who I was sticking with, so I just wasn't as worried. Um, and so, of course, I didn't know she had it, but that's what I thought at the time. Um, yeah, so that kind of concludes night one, really.
Yeah,
I okay.
I think that's everything from night one. So now let's head to night two, and we have to start off by talking about Chattergate and everything that happened leading up to the chaos of night two.
Oh my God. So I'll give like a very detailed like surgical explanation of what the fuck happened from what I remember because like my brain exploded. So
So did ours.
people reacted to this so much more than it deserved. And like I'm into it, like it's
Yeah,
fun. But like the reaction was ridiculous. Um, like the only person who didn't react that much was Sarah. Like we just fucking cackled about it. But okay, anyway. Um, so what happened was we had our Fiendish Four.
mhm,
Sarah, me, Brandon, Rachel.
mhm.
We know that like that's not enough numbers really to secure like a majority, and we knew we were merging. So we're
Right.
like, okay, we have to kind of like bring other people in. Um, so Sarah was never going to bring Amy in. So that only really left JJ and Ryan, or Neo. I'm going to use interchangeable throughout.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and um, so Sarah creates a chat called The Villainous Six,
I
Devilish
believe
Six.
that's correct. Yeah.
The
I
villainous
can't,
six, yeah.
y'all, as soon as the game ended, I forgot so much. So, um, anyway, yeah, there we go. So she created that chat, included them in it, and it was kind of good in my eyes because it showed JJ and Ryan like, hey, like Sarah's reaching out, she's kind of grasping for straws. This is what they were thinking. They thought Sarah had no allies, right? That Sarah was just kind of trying to pull in whoever she could. They didn't understand that me and Rachel had been working with Sarah, been telling Sarah everything, and Brandon.
That was just to keep an eye on those two.
Exactly. Exactly. But it also didn't make me or Rachel look bad. Like it kind of covered us rather than, um, it should have made us look terrible. Like it should have made them worried about us, but it really didn't. So it worked
Right.
out. So anyways, Sarah creates that chat. We have like an initial call at some point, just like a little chatting, no like true like allegiances or loyalties, talking about like which of the heroes we could take out at the first merge vote, that type of thing. Later in the day, we started talking a little bit more, and we get on a call, and everybody's on it but JJ. So there's five of us on it. Maybe Brandon wasn't there. I can't remember. But I know JJ wasn't there. And we're just talking again, but we're like actually starting to get into some real strategy talk.
Mhm.
And things are like heating up. And then you or Sarah Wolf came in there and was like, guys, it's time. And I'm like, oh, fuck y'all on this time limit. Oh my God, these time constraints. This ruined the game. Chattergate happened because of that, because of the time constraints.
Good.
It was so annoying. So we were like, okay, we're gonna get around that shit. We're just gonna create another chat without Brandon or whatever
Right.
and just like continue the conversation. So we did that, and then we got cut off again. It happened like twice in a row, and I was like, okay, the conversation we're having is too important. Like we're coming up with things. We were kind of getting some insight into what Neo was actually thinking without Amy clouding it or anything like that, or like
Mhm.
Amy's opinion coming in. So it's kind of seeing like what he thinks on his own. And and because he wasn't saying the same thing in Chatterbox as he was in the group with Sarah.
Mhm.
Uh the same plans and everything. And because in Chatterbox is like I knew Amy and Ryan wanted Sarah out. They were terrified of Sarah. Like terrified of Sarah. Um who knows why? It's not like she was gonna win or anything. Uh and so yeah, then we okay, yeah, we get told like, oh, you got to get off again. So we're like, okay, let's create another chat without JJ. So it would just be me, Sarah, Rachel, and Ryan. And so I go, and I thought somebody was gonna create it because I'm like not good at that shit. I don't use Messenger for literally anything. The first time I ever used Messenger was my first org, and so or my first
Yeah.
season.
And that honestly, Chattergate might be my problem, Corey, because like I knew at that point I've already made a couple group chats and you don't want to be the one to make too many. So I was just like, oh, I'm busy. Can someone
Yeah,
else do
yeah,
it?
no, it's totally fine. That's probably the only one I ever made. So, whoops. But well, I will clarify. I made it correctly the first
Mhm.
time. I just didn't think that I did. I did not trust myself, and that's when I fucked up. Life lesson. Trust your gut. Yeah, nobody was really making it, even though we had just hung up and said we were going to make it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and make it. So I go and make it. I'm like adding all the mods that need to be in there, trying to remember whose mod is like what player has which mod and all that shit. So I like create it and like immediately just like click the FaceTime button or whatever it's called to like do a call. Well, Ryan jumps on, uh, Rachel jumps on, Sarah doesn't jump on. And I'm like, fuck. I must have left Sarah out because I figured she would have answered right away. So
Right.
I go and I look, and I guess in the meantime, I had opened a Chatterbox message because, like, my video, your Messenger video is different from your Messenger messengers.
Right.
Anyway, so I go and I look and I click the members, like group members, and I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, Sarah's not on here. And so I'm like, add Sarah. Come back to, and in the meantime, Ryan is telling some like 30-minute fucking story of some shit. I'm not listening because I think Sarah's not there and I'm trying to add Sarah. And I add Sarah and I come back to the video and Sarah's there. I don't know what she was doing. I know it wasn't listening to whatever the fuck he was saying, but she's there. I see her face and Rachel's there. And I'm like, how did I just added her? How is she here? So I go and I look back and it's the Chatterbox message and it says Corey added Sarah to Chatterboxes. I'm like, okay, fuck. Fuck. And so immediately, like, my first reaction was, I don't want to fuck up other people's game. Like, that was a genuine reaction, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to fuck up Amy's and Ryan. Like, that's not fair to them.
right.
Like, whatever, you know? So I'm like, Jake, is there any way like I can remove Sarah and then I'll just explain to her what happened? Like, I know she's not gonna care. She knew I was working with them, like talking to them and stuff. So it's not like it wasn't like something that was gonna break up me and Sarah,
Right.
but it was something that, was gonna break up the other side, which I was kind of okay with anyway. It's not who I wanted to work with. And so, but yeah, you told me you were like, yeah, no, once you add her, like you can't remove her. And I was like, great, now she's gonna go see what everybody else said, which is good for me and Rachel because we never agreed to any of the shit that they wanted to target her and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't care if she goes and reads it. It's like I was always working with her and even when I talked with them, I never, had said anything that I wouldn't tell her. So um anyway, so I was like, well, I could do one of two things. I could like really freak out and let this ruin my game, or I can work around this, adapt, and whatever. So I'm like, all this is happening. We're still on the call, and Ryan's still fucking talking about who knows what. Like this was most calls with him. So I don't know what he was saying. And me, Rachel, and Sarah are all like, like we could like see all of our faces. Like Sarah's clearly scrolling through Chatterbox reading that shit. Rachel's just like looking at me. We're making eye contact without talking, and we're just like, like freaking out. And Ryan is still completely fucking unaware, talking about whatever. And so I was like, okay, like now I need to go like message the Chatterbox people and like apologize and say I'm sorry and all that stuff. Then we hang up and I immediately call Sarah and we just like die laughing. Like hysterically laughing. Like just like this was the chaos that the villains needed. We were talking about being villain strong, which like I'm all for a villain winning, but like we were not that interested in being like actually villain strong. That's boring. That's like what we don't want to do.
Right.
Um, we want to make sure the villains get to the end and the villains win, but like we definitely are looking forward to taking some of these villains out.
Hmm.
So we're just like we're laughing and cackling about all the craziness and the chaos that's going to ensue. I didn't think it was going to be as big of a deal as it became. I genuinely didn't. I was like, like there was really not a whole lot about Sarah in there, like nothing super negative. She already knew Amy wanted her out anyway, so it was like there was nothing really in there. So I thought that like I needed to have like a very apologetic reaction to the right people and then a very like blasé, this doesn't matter reaction to people like Sarah and Brandon and Rachel who knew what was going on and knew I was
Right.
working with. So I needed to have a very different reaction with the two groups. And I think I did that pretty well.
Hmm.
Um, and so immediately to Amy and JJ and to Ryan, I'm like, I am so sorry. I put on my acting face. I know Ryan's the actor in the group, but I think my acting, did pretty well because even in his what's it called? His interview with you. It seemed like he bought what I was selling. Um, but yeah, I was super apologetic. I was trying to act super emotional, saying like, like I'll take the fall. Like I'm not here to fuck up your games. This isn't fair to y'all, which was true. But like, if it fucked up their game, I was okay with it. And I was like. I'm so so sorry. Like you can vote me out if you need to. Like I'll be the fall guy. I'm saying all that knowing like Sarah and Brandon and Rachel are not going to vote me out. So like good luck. Um and so yeah, that they were like it's okay, like it's fine. Like we know it. Amy was very much like, yeah, you fucked up. But like we can work around this kind of thing. And I was like what I would expect from Amy, which I admire. Very straight up. I appreciate that. And Ryan really took like a particular like almost like he felt like the need to like coddle me or like talk me off a ledge. And I was like, oh, this is actually working. Either we're like both like we're like both really great actors, or like he's buying what I'm saying here.
Hmm.
He's like telling me, go take a walk, go take a breather, have a bubble bath or some shit like that. I haven't taken a bath since I was 12. I take a shower. Um, So yeah, he's like, it's gonna be okay. And I'm just like, dude, like I've been through worse. Like I'm gonna be okay. Like I'm not taking this game that seriously. Like, but anyway, so yeah, he's like trying to talk me off a ledge. He's like, I'm here for you if you need anything. And I'm just like, cool, I'll let you know. But yeah, I definitely was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a social media pause. I'm gonna put the game on pause for now. And then like I immediately went and did a call with Brandon and Sarah and Rachel,
Right.
which brings us to how I found out about Sarah's idol, or how we found out about Sarah's idol. And I don't know if Sarah knows this, and I'm sure it wasn't like a trick, like necessarily. Like I think Sarah didn't care if people knew about her idol, but
Mhm.
nobody knew Sarah, or at least to my knowledge, nobody knew Sarah had the idol yet. I thought it, but I didn't know. So when we get on that call, Sarah was in the shower. So her video wasn't on, and me, Brandon, and Rachel were all on video. And we're talking, and at this point, I was like, they're gonna turn on me probably. Like they're gonna want to vote me out. They're gonna try to get me or you out, Sarah. Like they're gonna put this on us. And I was like, like if one of us don't win immunity, like, Sarah, if like you had an idol, you could play it. Like if you win immunity, like you could play the idol for me, then we're guaranteed safe. And then she was like, "Oh yeah, I'd definitely do that." And we were like, "Did I just accidentally get you to admit you had an idol?" Like me, Brendan, and Rachel all went, like, wait, what? They may have known, but I did not know. And so I was like, wait, she just like totally admitted it. And that's not what I was trying to say. I was like, if you had an idol, but I might have forgotten to say if. And then she thought I was like, maybe Sarah thinks she already told me she has an idol. Like, I don't know. But then she
Oh.
started talking about like, this is what I would do with the idol. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, well, now we know who has it. It's confirmed.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was on purpose for sure. Cause like at that point, like I knew Neo was kind of like fucking up. You know what I mean? Like I had already heard Amy was cussing him out. So like whatever. JJ was wanting to schedule a call with me, so I figured it was gonna go the Neo route.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point, like telling you guys was just like solidifying like us that I'm rocking with you guys and that like I didn't like want you to feel in danger. Like if they were coming for you, I wanted you to know that hey, I do have this thing.
Yeah.
Will and can use it on you. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely it was intentional to tell you guys. It's
Yeah.
just so funny going back watching Shane and Jake on there, like, ah, yes, Sarah found the idol and she told everyone.
But like it was crazy because like I think I was just talking like hypotheticals because I was like Sarah and I are gonna be the targets now, and like I don't have the idol, so if you have the idol, if you win immunity or if I win immunity, then we're both safe. And then she just like said she had it, and I was like, wait, I just might have accidentally got her to admit, I wasn't sure. But anyway, that's how I found out she had the idol. So that was fun. In the meantime, JJ he was scheduling a call with you. He scheduled a call with me. He calls me and he's like, "You're going home." And I was like, "I need a little bit more than that." What? Because again, I wasn't reacting that bad to Chattergate. I didn't think it was going to be like this, like super detrimental thing to my game. If anything, I thought maybe it would like lower my threat level. Like, oh, he made this dumbass move. Like, we can beat him
Mhm.
at, you know? Um, and so JJ's like, yeah, you're going home. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, okay, if I tell you this, like, you cannot say anything to anybody because if you say anything to anybody, your game is done. Really, really bad way of communicating with me. Just for anybody to ever know, like that's a horrible way to to communicate something to me. Appreciate the effort and appreciate the sentiment, but I was like, don't tell me to sit in this box because like I'm a
Yeah.
bust out. Like I can't be told what to do. Um, I've had 34 years of my parents trying to do that and didn't work well for them. So anyway, I'm like, okay, like I thank you so much for telling me. Like I'm listening. So then he tells me about the Summit Alliance that Ryan had formed with the heroes and that he's turning this on me. And I'm just like, wow, that's kind of gross. Like he just told me to go take a bubble bath and take a walk and he's here for me if I need anything and all this shit just to go and then use it against me to vote me out. And he said in his interview that like I volunteered to be voted out. I volunteered like within the Chatterbox Five. I did not volunteer to be like the first vote out at the merge. And also like it was bullshit. It
Mhm.
wasn't serious,
Right.
it's a part of my apology which seemed to work. Anyway, and so yeah, JJ's telling me all this. He's telling me everybody who's involved. He's like, I think we can get these votes. This person, this person, this person. He's like talking like Kevin, Sarah, Rachel, Brandon, JJ himself. I'm like, well, I already know that I have four of those people.
Right.
So like, I'm not worried about that. But I'm like, sure. He's like, I'm gonna do a call and make my rounds. So when Sarah told me JJ had a call with her, I was like, I already know what it's about. And kind of like preface her. I was like, he's going to talk to you about the plan that I've already told you about. So yeah, when JJ did that, I was like, okay, I have to play this carefully because he put me in this box and I have to make sure that I don't talk too much because I need his vote. I can't have him hear that I'm telling people about it and then he flip his one vote because like the votes could have been close, right?
Right.
Um, so I did tell, Brandon and Rachel and Sarah, and they're like, you're fine. Like, we're not voting you. Originally, they were saying that they were going to do a split vote between me and Sarah, but then they were worried Sarah had the idol. Then I knew Sarah did have the idol. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to win the first immunity. And then if Sarah has the idol, she can play the idol on herself, and, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um, and then that's what made me start talking to heroes. So prior to that, I hadn't talked to any heroes. Had a conversation with Kevin for the first time. It was a good conversation. I basically was just like, this is what's going on. I've been told not to say this to anybody. That's not the way the game works for me. So look, I'm open to working with you. It seems like the people I've been working with are flipping on me. So I'm a number for you. I know you had a rough go at pre-merge. You might not have the most numbers. So like, I'm here for a number. I like
Mhm.
you, whatever. Then I had a conversation with Michael, and Michael and I really liked him. We had such a good talk. He's so awesome. And it was hard to like we knew like we had a time constraint, so we were like we need to talk strategy, but we just like kept talking about like life and things and like getting to know each other. Um, but in the Michael conversation, I brought up that I hadn't heard from the other two heroes, Erica and Anthony. And just like what happened with Amy and Ryan, here come Erica and Anthony 2 minutes later. They're like, "Hey Corey, sorry I haven't responded yet. How are you? Are you ready for the roller coaster tonight?" And I'm like, "Hi." Like it was very clear Michael went and told them to talk to me. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, Michael is definitely working. Like the heroes are working together. We knew it, but like it was even more confirmation."
Mhm.
Uh, so anyway, I was just like, yeah, like, look, like I fucked up. I did this thing. Like, it's whatever. Like, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. Like, honestly, the villains were talking about being villain strong from the beginning anyway. So, like, I don't know why they care that Sarah's in on their plans to vote out a hero. Like, it
Right.
wasn't a big deal to me. And so, they were all like, no, yeah, like Ryan's doing way too much. He's exposing too much. I was like, yeah, I mean, y'all formed the Summit Alliance. He's already exposed it. Every single person knows about it now. Every single person in the game knows that y'all formed this alliance. So
Mhm.
he's already made your game, like he's already become a liability for your game. He's put targets on y'all, right? And
Right.
so, and then Kevin didn't know about it at the time, or if he did, he didn't tell me. He said he didn't know about it. So he was like, I'm the only hero who's not in the Summit Alliance. I was like, right. Um, so I was just kind of like putting it all on blast, and I was like, this is gonna put the target on Ryan because nobody really had a reason to target me other than because Ryan wanted to. Like, that's not a good enough reason, I think, to vote me out for most
Mhm.
people. And so I was like, let me go expose all these things and relate it to how it's hurting their games, having him here. And then that kind of became Ryan was going to be the target going into merge. From my perspective, I think that's the truest thing that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then y'all fucked everything up. with y'all's
Yeah,
twist.
we get the split tribal. Like these doubles were thrown in for efficiency to make night two more efficient because like it was gonna
Gonna
be
let it run until midnight. It was
yeah,
gonna
we had
be
because we had 16 challenges planned out and we had to cut some and combine just so we weren't gonna be there until 1 a.m.
yeah.
But so the split tribal happens and so you end up on the side with Amy, Michael, Erica, Rachel, and Brandon, right?
Yes.
Yep. And so JJ gets voted out of the other side, and then for Amy, what ends up happening with the Amy vote?
Yeah. So sorry, I know I'm talking like a lot. I feel
You're
like I'm
good.
wrong. I just like to try to give the most context as
Right, right,
possible because I know it's really hard in games, and we judge all these Survivor players and don't, and then they have to go on social media and say what they were actually thinking,
right.
or podcasts and stuff. So immediately when it was split, I was like, fuck, 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 fuck. Even before I knew the names, I was like, because if Ryan is somehow safe or if he's not in my group, like I am the other name. Like I just am.
Right.
And I've played in other games where I know I'm a challenge beast. Like I'm not trying to be a challenge beast if I don't need to be, but I know I am. I know I'm capable of it, especially if my ass is on the line. I become fucking feral. Like I'm like, no. If I have a chance to save myself, I'm gonna fucking save myself, which is like arguably bad strategy. It's one of my flaws, whatever. Um, but I like to win. Even if it's not the whole thing, I like to win. Um, I'll take the ones I can get. And so yeah, immediately I'm like freaking out because I'm like, fuck, okay, even though he's number one, I'm definitely number two. And if we're not together, that's gonna suck. So then they read off the names and I'm like, okay, fuck, okay, wait, who's in my group? I'm like, okay, Rachel won't vote me out, Brendan won't vote me out. Amy would, I definitely thought Amy would vote me out. Um, Erica, she just had no real allegiance to me, and I was like, okay, but Michael, right? Michael was in my group.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I was like, but Michael, I had made that good connection with, so Michael might want to work with me if I can pitch Amy. Like I knew I couldn't pitch a hero in that scenario because Amy wasn't a number I could rely. I thought I probably could have relied on it, but I didn't think I could at the time, which is an
Right.
unfortunate part of the game. I feel bad, but I didn't think I could rely on Amy's vote. I thought Amy would vote me out there, which meant I would only have 3 votes on my side to try to take out a hero, and then they would have 4.
Right.
So I was like, we have to take out a villain here. And it has to be Amy. And I just thought Amy was, because I was working more closely with Brendan and Rachel, I needed to save them because we had the alliance with Sarah, who was by herself on the other side. I knew she was going to play her idol. I thought it was a lot of people talk shit about people playing an idol incorrectly. That was a boss ass move. You have to do it there. You
Mhm.
have to do it there. You have to. Because had you not and you gone home, then people will talk about how fucking stupid you are.
Right.
Yeah, I was just protecting myself, like securing my position, but also asserting my dominance that like, and plus I had 2 at that point, so I was
Yeah.
like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, you had to play the idol there. I don't the incorrect idol plays can be the right choice. By
Mhm.
incorrect, I just mean like the votes weren't on you or the majority votes weren't on you. It can be the correct choice. And I think in a split tribal with few numbers like that, and she had the most new people that she hadn't been playing with yet, plus she had Ryan, who she knew was against her, and he had won immunity. It was a very, very smart move. I would have argued
Yeah.
for
And
days.
to be honest, I knew like JJ and Ryan were close, so I figured JJ was against me too. So I was worried that Ryan and JJ were gonna try to go to like Anthony and try to get him to like flip on me because like I've talked to Anthony a little bit and he said he wouldn't write my name down, but we had never had an opportunity to establish trust besides this vote. And I'm not a gambler, so I was playing the idol. So
Yeah, no, it's 100% the right move in that situation. Had you not played it, there was a chance, even if it's a 1% chance that you don't go any further in the game and you had 2 idle, like fuck no. And you're good at challenges, so you know you can rely on other things. No, that was the right move for you as
Mhm.
yeah.
who you are and how you play the game. That was a perfect move. Luckily nobody brought that up because if somebody was going to bring that up at Final Tribal, I was going to get pissed. Anyway, so right, so then we get split. I know Ryan's on the other side. My immediate thought, Amy has to go. My second thought, I have to win immunity.
Right.
Um, it's just too risky. Because I'm that second name. So I was like, I have to win immunity. When I saw it was planking, I was like, fuck, I've never planked in my life. Like I don't. I did. You can, if you go back and watch it, I was probably the last person to get in position because I was looking to see like what is the actual proper position of a plank.
Right.
Um, but like I'm pretty decent at endurance. I can endure a lot of pain, and I endured every conversation with Ryan. So, um, planking was nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I would have it had it not been a split tribal and it came down to just me and Ryan there, I would have
Right.
I don't know who would have won, but like I definitely would have lasted longer than I did. I only stopped because I could, that
Right.
was part of it.
Exactly.
There's no point in me continuing. So I was like, I have to win. So then I won, and I was proud. I still going back. I think that was a smart time to win immunity. I thought that was
Mhm.
a good thing. And then at that vote, Erica's like pleading with me. She's like, "Please don't vote me out. Rachel's gonna want me." Um, I can't remember who else was there. I think maybe Brandon was in me, Brandon, and Erica were talking. Also,
Yeah.
I hate the format. I hate the breakout rooms. I hate all that shit. Oh, I hate all that. It was so confusing. I just went into a room and stayed there, which is like a flaw in my game. But like, again, I wasn't taking it that seriously. So I was like, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so I was in there and Erica's like, please save me. And I'm like, look, I'm willing to give up a villain here, but and it has to be Amy. It can't be Rachel. I don't think it said it can't be Rachel. I was like, it has to be Amy because Amy is the most willing to vote me out
Mhm.
in this group. And I was like, I will save you here, but like there's gonna come a time where I need you, to try to help me. And so that I thought that was a good move on Erica's part. She like I did it. She voted Amy, I voted Amy, Michael and I think Rachel and Brandon all voted Amy. Maybe
Yeah, Michael
someone.
threw his vote, but he threw his vote on Rachel,
Okay. Okay.
he
Yeah.
knew he knew it was happening,
I
obviously.
genuinely do not remember the voting.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who I voted for like the next few tribals, to be honest. Uh, it didn't matter. It was
Yeah.
like not having a vote. Um, so yeah, Michael wasn't in that conversation, so Erica was, so she might not have had time to go and tell him or something like I don't know what happened with all that. Anyway, from my perspective, I was just like, I know Rachel's I told Rachel what the I thought the vote should be. I know Brandon was in on it with me and I was trying to buy that trust with Erica and I was like, well, because if we voted here, it's going to be you. So I was like, I'll throw you this bone and we'll take out Amy here.
Mhm.
And then that was a good move not only for myself, but I also thought it was a good move for Sarah, for people I was working with, because like Amy would have come for Sarah at any point that she could, as long as she thought she had numbers. And
Right.
so I was like, this is just like the right. It kind of solidifies even more so with that with for Sarah that I'm with her, but it also kind of protects me a little bit, and it also weakens Ryan, which is the goal, because he had just went we the two people involved with Chattergate who like were the two targets coming in, it was poetic justice that we both won immunity.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
So
it was very
that's
funny.
how that vote went down. It's the vote that I feel the most bad about because Amy wasn't gonna vote me, and I thought that she was, and that's just a misread on my part, and she was
Mhm.
really upset. But it's a game. I don't get emotional in games, so it's like I do feel bad that she feels bad, but like I don't feel bad for making a game move.
Right. Then you shouldn't.
I, I
So
I will I have no emotions in these games, but I will make you think that I feel every fucking emotion while I'm
mhm.
playing. And I will use that and to manipulate whatever I can, but at the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah. So after JJ and Amy go, then it's final nine, and we have yet another double, and it is the two people with the highest amount of votes.
Another fucking double. See, ridiculous.
Yeah, so this is where Ryan and Rachel both go. So I believe you voted for Ryan at this vote, which I mean, like the mods, we all knew Ryan was going at this point when he didn't win immunity again.
Yeah. So this is the vote that I think I regret the most.
Mhm.
Um, but going into it, after I won that first immunity, I was like, I'm not winning this next one. And then it was the quarter one, and I was like, damn it, I'm gonna be good at this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be fucking good at this. And I was like, I don't want to win it. And then we find out it's the two people going home with the two highest votes, and I'm like, again, like I'm still kind of at that, my name is out there, so like I can't risk it. And Sarah
Mhm.
had just played her idol. I didn't know at the time yet that she had a second one. So I was like, I can't rely on her to play it for me because she already played it for herself. And so I'm like I have to win again. And it's like, oh, this is coming back to me in my second game when I won 4 fucking immunities in a row and then went out the first time I lost. I was like, this is just gonna be my fate. I just have to comp out. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Uh, I would have intentionally thrown challenges had it not been two people
right.
going home both of those times. But anyway, so yeah, I won that challenge. Fort Gate in my mind. I was freaking out when I got that first one because it's not easy to get that. And I was like, if
Mhm.
that doesn't count, I'm gonna be so pissed because watch, I'm gonna end up losing because I can't get it another time. So I was like, thank you guys for seeing that and for letting me bend my fork and fix it and do it again. Anyway, and so going into that vote, again, it was like really chaotic, and I got fucking stuck in a room with guess who? Ryan.
Ryan.
And I told you, like, I'm not good at the bouncing around. I'm sure the viewer saw I bounced into you and Shane talking multiple times because, like,
Yeah.
I couldn't figure that shit out. So I was like, I'm just gonna sit my ass in a room and stay there, and the votes will be what it is because I have immunity. Now I get stuck in a fucking room with Ryan, and he's telling me all this stuff like, you have to vote Kevin, you have to do this. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, give me the logic and then let me decide, you know? So he's like telling me Rachel's gonna go home and all this stuff. And like, I guess maybe he had talked to other people. At that point, he probably knew more of what was going on than I did. And I just didn't
Mhm.
care because I want immunity. In my mind, I'm like, feral mode. Like, I just have to comp out. That's all I can do. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
thinking like votes and strategy and all that. And, and so, yeah, he's like talking. I'm really not listening. Um, and I think he said in his interview I was in adrenaline mode. Correct read. Yes, I was. And I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. He was trying to get me to vote Kevin. I wish I had, like, going back, I wish I had listened there
Mhm.
because Brian didn't need to get my vote there. I could have put it on Kevin and Rachel. I think Kevin the way the numbers worked, Kevin would have gone home and Rachel would have stayed there.
Mhm.
But
I
I
think
just
that's probably right.
nobody else had told me that but Ryan. I was literally stuck with only him that round. And
Mhm.
so, and I followed the rules of like if the room is full, like I'm not gonna go there. Not everybody followed that rule, but I did. So like if I showed up and there were like five people there, I would leave. Anyway, so yeah, that's how that vote went down. I was like, I just have to be consistent to what I told people I would do. People are expecting me to vote Ryan. If I switch it up, it's not going to look good for anybody possibly wanting to work with me moving forward. And I'm already becoming a threat, even more so now that I've won two immunities in a row.
Right.
And so
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
wish
just,
we could have formulated a plan to get some sort of hero out because I did not want to see Rachel go too. And Kevin wanted to talk about his balls of steel not playing his idol. I had one too, so I'm just sitting there like, damn it, damn it, damn it, don't play it, don't play it.
yeah, yeah. No, that was the correct move there to hold it. Like you played your idols exactly how I would have. I don't know that that makes it right or whatever, but it definitely was the way I would have done it for sure. Um, I think it was the right time to hold it there. You knew Ryan was going to go for sure, and then it was either going to be Rachel or Kevin. So it was very unlikely for it to be you. Um, but yeah, I just was completely blindsided by it being Rachel. I had
Mhm.
no idea she was going to get votes there. But I guess maybe the heroes all voted for Rachel.
Yeah, it was Kevin, Michael, and Erica.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was literally, yeah, I guess. So this is after the fact, but yeah, I guess it was literally a last second decision. They were in a room and it was like, we need to think of a second name, like, okay, Rachel, 3, 2, 1, go, and that was it. And it's just like, fuck you,
And how did
Kevin.
how did Ryan know about it though? Because Ryan told me like if
Uh,
I don't vote Kevin, Rachel would go home.
I
I couldn't tell you that. I have no
And
idea.
I
I
didn't
don't
believe it
know
at the
actually. I
time.
should have pressed him on that.
But I don't think he brought it up that much in his interview, but I remember in that thing where it was just me and him at the well or whatever it was. Um, he said that, and I was like, okay, dude, like I'm still voting for you. Anyway, so then, okay, so who'd you vote for there, Sarah? You voted for Ryan.
I voted for Ryan too. Yep.
Yep.
So who voted Kevin?
That was Ryan and Rachel, I think.
Mhm. Smart of Rachel.
Yeah.
See, had I talked to her. and she told me that that's what she was doing, 100% I would have voted with her and voted Kevin there. But
Mhm.
like the logistics, the rooms, what's crazy, Rachel and Sarah were each my number ones, right? Like they were the people I was working the closest with. I
Mhm.
don't think I spoke with either of them once night two started,
Yeah.
except after this vote. Sarah and I talked after this vote.
Right.
Um, but prior to that, we hadn't. And I never once talked to Rachel. I could never get in a room with Rachel, like except at that end where I told her vote Amy, and that was very quick. But never talked to her again. So it was really, really challenging. And that's not a criticism. Just
Right. No, I know. So then after Ryan and Rachel go, this is where you win your third immunity in a row, and this is where Brandon goes, and this is the vote where you were telling Sarah to play her idol on Brandon, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. So what was that challenge? Oh, the card one.
Yes, I believe yes.
Sorry, Sarah. I was like, she's gonna hate me for this one because I was like trying to eke out every win I could, but I was like, you. So at that point, I knew Sarah had the idol, had at least one idol.
Mhm.
She had told me she found her second one. I'm like, good. Like one of us has to win immunity. So when it came down to only me or her, it didn't really matter who won. But like, I was like, it would make more sense if I won and then she plays the idol on herself than if she won, she may not want to play the idol on me, which I would totally understand. But like, I didn't want to take that risk because I was kind of like 50-50 on if she would. And um, so yeah, I just like I said, I become feral. I don't think anymore about strategy. I'm like, I know I'm a big fucking target. I know as soon as I lose an immunity, I'm going home. It's what happens every time. Nobody ever switches it up. So I was like, I have to win this immunity. So I like flip through those cards, and oh my God, when Danny called for the royal flush,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I did my shuffle, but when I flipped that shit over in like the first 15 cards that I fanned out, I had all five cards that I needed. They weren't close together and they weren't in order, which he also made me put them in order, but he did not specifically say to put them in order when he said go, like he had for other ones. So that's why I didn't have them in order.
Mhm.
But I love Danny. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
We all love Danny.
he passed his challenge beast torch down to me actually because he was an original challenge beast on a game called Roarg, and
Okay.
we played that game together. His second season, it was a fans versus favorites. He won the first two individual immunities. He went home. It was his fault. He'll swear it was mine, but it was his. And then I won the next four in a row. So he passed it on to me. So I absolutely love Danny. Anyway, so yeah, I win that one. I know Sarah has her idol. I know Sarah's gonna play her idol on herself there. Again, smart move. Whether she's getting votes or not, you just have to guarantee. What I wasn't expecting was Sarah to be like, I have two. And I was like, yes. And so I believed it for a moment, but I'm also like, why wouldn't she have told me secretly that she had two when she told me she had the one? And so
Mhm.
I was like, why? And then I got to do one of my like things that I've like dreamed up to see on Survivor is when an idol is played and the votes haven't been read. I
Yeah.
have never understood why somebody doesn't stop tribal council and be like, hey, it doesn't matter right now what the votes are. Like, just you do this, this, and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause
Right.
knowing Secret, if she had a second idol, she plays hers, Kevin plays his. I knew that. I think that round I voted Kevin,
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
and
It
Kevin
was you
played
or
an idol,
Brandon.
and Kevin played an idol, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So when Sarah played hers on her, Kevin played his, and she said she had the second. I was like, wait, Sarah, if you play that second idol on Brandon, you can save the three of us. Because we were hemorrhaging people. Like we had just lost Rachel. The other three, Amy, JJ, Ryan, not as crucial to our game, but
Mhm.
was like, we cannot, we just lost Rachel. We can't lose Brandon because we're already a deficit in numbers, right? At seven, we're three of seven. I was
Yep.
like, if we save all of us, then we're going into the final six with a 50% chance that one of us wins. And
Right.
that's what I wanted. And I'm sure that's what Sarah wanted. And then Sarah just kind of didn't do anything. And I was like, okay. Okay.
You know, like I can't. I think we'll be good. I'm just sitting there like, oh God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm like, I respect it. Like I said, it's like that's why I wanted to win immunity because I was like, I'm not sure if she would play the idol on me, even though she said she would. And that's fine. I would never expect anybody to play an idol on me, but I'm not gonna rely on that, you know? And if they do, great, but I'm not gonna rely on it. And so I just was excited because like that's I don't think that's ever happened in an actual like CBS Survivor Tribal Council, and I've
Yeah.
always wondered why people don't do that. Like, why
Yeah.
don't the idols played? Why don't you like openly tell somebody else to do it? You know? And so
Right.
that was like probably my favorite moment because it's like I've always wanted to see it, and then I like jumped at the chance to do it. So um anyway, so I was sad to see Brandon go. Um I knew Kevin had an idol. I don't know why I put fucking vote on him. I can't remember. I don't remember why we voted him there, but I knew he had an idol, so that was dumb.
Yeah, I can't. I'd have to look at the voting chart again, but yeah, it was either you or Brandon that did it, and
Oh, Anthony won immunity. I wanted Anthony out so bad. He got on my fucking nerves. All his loyalty shit and all that. Boring, boring. And they're still talking about it in the reunion stuff. I'm not. I see the notifications, but I'm not joining it. And he and Brandon got into an argument about loyalty today, and I was like, yep, you go, Brandon. You tell him that's why you won a game and Anthony hasn't.
dang.
Um. Anyway, yeah, he was just getting on my nerves. Like, it's just like that's the type of person I know I can never play with. We will always be at odds. We just don't view the game the same way. No, I try my best to work with anybody, but I knew that was he would never want to work with me. I would never want to work with him. So I really wanted him to go. So when he won the, oh no, wait, he didn't have immunity there.
He
Ignore
won
what I just.
immunity, and it was because the quarters was also a
Yeah,
double.
yeah, okay. So yeah, I wanted the vote to be on Anthony. There had to be a reason we chose Kevin. I really don't fucking remember. Sarah, do you remember why we voted?
No, I think Kevin's name was just floating around by the other heroes. I think that was the last thing I had heard, and then that was the round that I had caught Kevin in a room right before we went to tribal, and I asked him, I was like, "Do you have an idol?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well, I heard you're catching votes. You need to play it."
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Um. So who'd you vote for there?
who went home that round? I think I voted
Brandon.
Erica that round.
Yeah, Erica got 2 votes.
I
Oh,
voted
okay. I
Erica.
missed that. I missed that then. Okay, I'm like I said, I did not know what the fuck was going on strategically
Okay.
or vote
It was
wise.
those couple rounds there were a fever dream,
I couldn't tell
seriously.
you. I knew I had immunity. Sarah played her idol. We were good.
Yeah, right.
Uh, and so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I voted Erica. Maybe I didn't vote Kat. Who knows? I don't fucking remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm not helpful there.
No,
But
you're good.
yeah. So then the next one,
Your
the
demise, unfortunately.
I
You.
knew I knew as soon as you said Wallset, I was like, yep, this is where I'm going out.
Yeah.
Um,
Knee
between
surgeries.
that, between that, Sarah had told me she didn't actually have an idol, and that's why she didn't play it on Brandon. So I knew Sarah didn't have the second idol that she had said she had
Mhm.
at Tribal. So yeah, you say Wallset, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me, especially with people like Anthony and people like Kevin. I was like, this isn't going to happen. I have injured both my knees when I was younger. I've had multiple knee surgeries. I've had problems my entire life growing up with my knees. They've been great the past like 15 years, which is good, but like growing up, they were terrible. Um, so I knew I wasn't going to do well there. But I tried my best. Like I
Right.
was in probably some of the worst pain I've ever been in my life. I was legitimately crying from pain and whimpering. I hope nobody could hear it. I don't know. Nobody go back and watch it. But it was bad. My knees were literally like blue and purple. Like it was rough. I don't know how long I lasted, but lasting longer than 30 seconds in that was like a win for me. Um, just personally. Uh, and so yeah, I fell, lost, whatever, and lasted a lot longer than I thought, and crawled over to my computer to turn off my camera so nobody would see me wallowing in my own self-pity and pain. Um, and then immediately we go into Anthony won immunity.
Yes,
See, had Kevin won immunity there, I think there could have been a chance we got Anthony out there, possibly. I
it's
think that was
possible.
probably, I think it was my best opportunity. I think it was like 95% chance that I was gonna go.
Yeah.
That 5% chance that I would stay only existed if Anthony was an option to vote out.
Yeah.
And so he won. I was like, damn, this is going to be really hard. And Sarah doesn't actually have the idol. Because if Sarah did have the idol there, if she was willing to play it on me, she knew she wasn't going to get votes. She knew the heroes were going to vote me. And so,
Mhm.
and she and I could vote together to get out, whoever we agreed upon or whatever. Honestly, any of them. And so, yeah, knowing that kind of limited my strategy, but it's good that I knew that because Sarah had told me she didn't have it. So I wasn't like running around trying to tell people what to do and saying Sarah's going to play, you know what I mean? Um, so we get in a room with me, Sarah, Kevin, and Michael, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, And that's where I thought Sarah played a really, really smart game because at that point, it's like Sarah can't do a whole lot to save me. We've worked together up until that point, but we know like it's likely one of us goes here.
Mhm.
And I'm the only person, I think, who knows that Sarah doesn't have a second idol. And she stayed in that room with me. So I wasn't gonna betray her. I was like truly working honestly with her. Like I could have went and told people, Sarah does not have a second idol. We can vote Sarah here. That's not the game I was gonna play with her. I would have done that with probably a lot of other people, but I really wanted one of us winning. And so I wanted to do everything I could for the two of us to survive that. Um, and so I did think it was really smart that Sarah stayed in that room. She didn't go and talk to Erica or Anthony. So if I did reveal that she didn't have an idol or something like that, she would have known. Like she was guaranteeing that she would have whatever information because she knew I was the target and I'd be throwing out shit.
Right.
So I thought that was a really, really good move. And I gave like the best logical reasons that I could, knowing that I was gonna get voted out. I knew it.
Right.
But I thought I gave some really sound reasons.
Mhm.
I tried. I don't know. Sarah, what'd you think of it?
No, I thought they were all completely valid. And I mean, and it is, like you said, it is just like lame. Like, come on, like, let's just do something. Because they got to think too, like, when you're playing a season like this, like, the entire jury was stacked with villains. So like obviously most of them wanted like a villain to win when you have like a theme season like this. So like when you're taking five of the heroes to the end, like what are you doing? Like it's just I don't know. I thought at that point they should have at least made a move on one of them, whether it be Anthony or Erica. I probably would have taken Anthony at that point just to secure us
Well, he had
better chances
immunity.
at
Oh, yeah, he had immunity. That's what sucked.
okay.
I think if he had
Okay.
lost immunity, then I think we could have gotten him there, possibly.
Okay, yeah. Then I would have at that point I wish they would have made a move, but like Erica and Michael, I knew they were close and wouldn't move on the other. So it sucked.
Yeah, and I really didn't want it to be Kevin there, because I could tell from that point on, I could tell Sarah and Kevin. No, I forgot to say this at the beginning. I called day one. I was like, Sarah and Kevin are going to be final two. They're going to work together. Like I knew it. And I knew it. Like it's somewhere in some chat multiple times I said it. I still love the banter between them and all of that, but I was
Yeah.
like, they're gonna be working together. If they both get to merge, watch it. Like they're gonna run this shit, and they did. And kudos to them, because people didn't believe me when I said it,
Yeah.
and I like both of them, and I was working kind of with both of them, so it didn't matter to me that's where they ended. I'm like, I love to see my allies win. My
Right.
ally has won every game I've played. So, yeah, I gave every reason I could. As logical as I could. Basically, I was like, look, like Sarah said, you have a jury full of villains. You guys have played the most fucking boring game. And yeah, you've made it here, but you made it here because villains imploded and like basically like yeah, I sent the chatter box thing and then Ryan like overreacted, like way overreacted and then other people other villains along the way got taken out because of that. And now you guys sit in this majority and you've all made it here, but like you didn't do anything to make it here. Not anything. I don't want to discredit their game, but like, because I don't know everything that they did. But I'm like, you didn't have to do a whole lot, right? Like a
Right.
lot of our votes were already turning on villains. Like Sarah wanted to vote out JJ. I wanted to vote out Amy. I wanted to vote out Ryan. Like they didn't convince us to do that.
Right.
We wanting to do that. We gave you that opportunity. And that's where I told Erica, like, I got out Amy over you. And you said you would come back and you would come and help me out at some point. Even though I was voting out Erica that time. Because I didn't want to vote out Kevin, because I wanted to keep the option of I'm working with Sarah. I can tell Sarah's working with Kevin. It's like the closest hero link that I really can get at
Yeah.
that point. And so I was like, you have to differentiate your games. At this point, nobody's going to give a shit about pre-merge stuff. None of us on the jury were there pre-merge with you, so we don't care about that.
Right.
Um, we need you to articulate and explain what you did in the game that we played with you, not the game you played before meeting us. And so I was like, right now your games are all the same. And Anthony's like, I won two immunities. I'm like, okay, bitch, I won three. And I would
Right.
never, ever, if I got to a final tribal and I won multiple immunities, I would never once bring it up unless somebody asked me a question about it. That's not a reason to win in my book. It can be for other people, but for me, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, it doesn't matter to me that somebody wins immunities. It just doesn't. And always in my games, when I win them, it's a detriment to my game. So it's not, whatever. So he said that that's what differentiated his game, and because I said none of you have differentiated your games.
Mhm.
And then they did it. They voted together, and it's like, okay, again, if this was a final four, I wouldn't know which one to give a vote to you know?
Right.
And this is your chance to actually make a move. I'm not gonna win out everything. I don't know what the other challenges were once I left, but like it's very unlikely that I would have won six, right? Um, so I tried my best there. Gave it everything I had to try to stay. Ultimately, just got Sarah's vote, which I
Well,
appreciate.
yeah, I mean, you put in your best effort and you played a really good game. So,
Yeah, it was
uh,
definitely a different game than what I was planning to play.
so then the last thing, of course, is the final tribal council and your vote for Sarah to win the game, and just like walk us through everything that went on with the jury there.
Yeah. So I like when I get to jury, the game is not over. Like I am still trying to have fun. I'm still
Right.
trying to bring personality. I'm still trying to, I don't know. I just want to enjoy myself. I don't want to be like when I lose a game, I'm not like sulking. I'm not like super upset. Um, and I'm not bitter. I don't really, I'm not a big fan of the term bitter juries. I know it's like controversial topic in Survivor, but
Yeah.
I don't know. And if a jury is bitter, that's a valid emotion to have, and like whoever made them bitter, like kind of failed from a. I think that says something about your social game. But anyway, I'm not somebody who feels that bitter of an emotion, as an emotion. And so I don't place my vote based on bitter things. But when I got to jury, I felt like Ryan was really like ready to talk about the game. And he was like, very quickly, I could tell he wasn't going to be a bitter juror, which I was really appreciative of. I was like, "Hi, Rachel, haven't seen you all night. Like, what happened? Why are you here?" And yeah, just having fun, talking about things. And then Erica came in with Anthony because she got drug or whatever,
Drag,
dragged.
yeah.
Um, and so she came in and she like really wanted to like talk about the game like right away. And I could tell she was like a little bit emotional or like, like kind of, I could understand getting like dragged right away like that. It kind of ended really quickly for her. And she was like, would do you guys like have any questions about the heroes? And we're all just kind of like, Ryan, of course, started talking and asking questions. And then she's like, do y'all want to hear anything about them, their games pre-merge? And I was like, no, no. I was like, don't come in here try to influence us to try to vote one of them. I was like, I gave them the opportunity to get my fucking vote.
Mhm.
They didn't do it. They didn't differentiate themselves. They didn't play differently from each other. They did, like none of them still have made like a really bold move from my perspective. Um, eh, and so I was like, no, we don't care what they did pre-merge. Like, do you want to hear what we did pre-merge? No, because we won. And
Mhm.
I kind of felt bad about it because I came in kind of harsh, and I loved Erica. She was really great. She was really nice. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like I kind of like shut down the like talk about who you want to win kind of thing quickly because she wanted to talk about pre-merge stuff, and I was like, no. And that was even before Michael was on the jury too.
Right.
Um, I was just like, we don't even know if one of them's gonna get voted out anyway, so we don't even know. Like, I don't want to talk uselessly about somebody's game who's gonna be joining us here, you know?
Right.
And so that's kind of how jury was. Um, and then I did we talked a little bit more about like the post merge games of people, and I was Sarah's number one fan in there. I was like advocating for her. I don't think I had to convince anybody to vote for her. She did an amazing job of that on her own,
Right.
but I was like making sure like I was like trying to count votes for her, like trying to figure out if it was going to be close, like trying to get a feel, because she 100% deserved to win this game
Agreed.
as probably the person who played it like closest with her for like the majority of the game. She 100% deserved to win this. And I was trying to get a feel for like, what does my question need to be? Like what is something they're missing from Sarah's game? And so Michael had mentioned something about how Sarah used her implicit immunity. And that immediately triggered I'm the only person who knows that she lied about having the idol when she didn't have it. And she stayed in that room with me to make sure I couldn't tell anybody because that would be the most likely time for me to flip on her to save myself. Like, that's a boss ass move that uses implicit immunity, but goes beyond having implicit immunity to use the actual structure of the game to
Right.
make sure her information isn't getting out of there. I was like, so I brought that up. And Michael was like, "Holy shit, that is insane! That's insane level strategy." I'm like, "Right, especially to do it in a mini where everything is happening so fast. Even if that wasn't even an intentional move on Sarah's part, I wanted them to think it was intentional because
Right.
like it was an amazing game." And I wanted her to win. So I was trying to influence the jury a little bit, and trying to get a feel for like who was actually respecting her game and who was just going to vote for a hero based on the fact that they were a hero too. And and yeah, and then we went to Final Tribal and I used what I brought up about how she used her implicit immunity, how she made sure that I did not give out her information that only I had. Um, as a question and gave her that platform to like speak about how she did that in her game and I think that she probably had already won it by that point, but I think that was it gave even the viewers a way to see like these are the moves she was pulling behind the screen.
Right.
Yeah, as he was asking me who I wanted to vote it out, like I was counting votes in my head. Like I knew against Michael, it would be an uphill battle with the heroes, but I knew against Kevin, like even though it would be a good show, regardless of that, like I knew that like I would have more leeway that people might see my game more or respect it more. So yeah, I just knew I had a better shot against Kevin than Michael. Michael's an
Yeah.
angel. God,
Yeah,
I love.
and it's confirmed
And
Michael would have won because JJ would have voted for Michael.
Yeah,
So
and I knew going in no matter what, JJ and Amy weren't gonna vote for me. Like I
yeah,
knew it no matter what. So those swing votes for me were Anthony and Neo for sure.
right.
That's
Right.
why I always find it funny, like when you hear the people who like do talk about bitter jurors. Um, like I said, I don't, I find like if you're thinking somebody's a bitter juror, like you did something on your part socially to fail there. But like I was, I would be interested to know JJ's thoughts on like bitter juries because why didn't he vote for you to win?
Uh,
Um,
I
he
I
said it
think
was
he's
because he did a podcast with Kevin before.
I think it's because of he knew Kevin beforehand from podcasts.
Okay.
So
I
which
mean, I guess that's fair, but to me, that's just as lame as not voting for somebody because they blindsided you or something. I don't know.
yeah, and I mean he said on his podcast as well that he just respected Kevin fighting while being a target from the very beginning. So which
See,
Sarah did too.
and I
So
totally agree with that. Like, I think that this was a very strong final two. I
mhm.
just didn't think there was any question on like which of the two deserved to win.
Right.
Um, but also like that's what Kevin does every time he plays. So it's like,
I know he sucks so much. He's so annoying.
no, it's impressive. It is impressive, but it's like how many times is that gonna win? You know what I mean? And like I think his last game he played he won the same way. Like he was targeted from the beginning, right? Like he and Jen were in the final two of a
Yep,
game.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, many.
It's
Yeah.
like I don't want a repeat of that. Also, I've never voted for a man to win at Final Tribal ever, and I don't ever intend to. Uh, so yeah. Anyway, Sarah played, I think, even for a mini, like one of the more impressive games I've ever seen played, and especially because I was like really close to it, it meant like a lot for me to see her win too. So I don't know, I was just really happy with how it came down. I was shocked it was only by one vote. That's some bullshit, but like not to discredit Kevin, it's a compliment to Sarah's game.
Yeah,
Not discrediting his. I think he would have been a fantastic winner had Sarah not been there.
right. Agreed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this was great. I loved all the insight, and I think the
Yeah.
listeners or viewers are gonna like know all the details of Chattergate and everything.
Oh my God, can we like finally fucking close the chatterbox? Like put it to rest? Like
I, I'm never letting it go. I'm never gonna let it go.
that's fine because you and I laugh about it. You don't
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I think it's funny
Honestly,
too. But
we needed it. We needed it. We were villains talking about being villain strong. I was like, are you fucking serious? This is what happened in my first game. Like, I do not want to be like this is Sapphire Strong all over again. This can't be fun. I got so much shit. So many mods hated me. Annika and I had it out because she hated me because of the Sapphire Strong thing. Melissa didn't like me for the Sapphire Strong thing. Nobody who watched my season of Vanquish liked me because of the Sapphire Strong thing. And guess what? Me fucking either. I hated me
right,
too. But like at the same
So
time, like
good.
if those people were never gonna vote me out, why strategically would it ever fucking make sense for me to blindside one of them? And
right,
even then, we did blindside one of them. We blindsided Sarah.
right.
Um,
True. Very
so
true.
so anyway, it was getting to the point of ready to flip and all of that, and then I got taken out, and then whatever.
Yeah,
But this game was going that way. I felt like we were really going villain strong. Everybody was talking about it, and I don't think anybody like super seriously meant it, but like I did think it made sense for us to vote out a hero the first uh merge vote or two. Um, but honestly, we needed some chaos. So I think subliminally, something, or subconsciously, some part of me knew you got to throw some chaos in here.
right, right.
Uh, yeah. And I don't think that it was the demise of my game. I think it was definitely the demise of Ryan's game, but I think it was because of his reaction to it. And I actually don't think it was the demise of JJ's game. I think Sarah wanted JJ, and I think the she wanted him out from early on, and I think and I wanted Amy out from early on, and
Yeah,
I think that it's just those people didn't know that, which is a credit to Sarah and I,
Yeah,
having
for sure. I was totally willing to work with JJ, like regardless of me not knowing him and stuff. But like, it was once we got into the game, and like again, like you had mentioned, you and I didn't talk a lot the first couple days because like I didn't want to open my mouth too much. You know what I mean? So I started getting more active around Thursday, Friday, and
yeah,
but I did want to work with JJ. I was open to it, but once I saw that he was closer to Neo and Amy, I was like, well, fuck, I'm not having that. So he
yeah,
was just on the hit list by default. So.
yeah.
yeah.
And he is, as you guys now know, he is a messy player, and a big
I
risk
love him.
taker.
His
And that's how
him
he won his season, is literally took a massive risk and it just ended up paying off for him.
That move, even though like execution wise it didn't he didn't have the chance to get to know my personality that well. So like I
Right.
can't really fault him on his approach to me when coming and telling me that I was gonna be the vote and like don't say anything to anybody because it's definitely gonna be you. I will have to vote you out if you go tell people. Like he didn't know my personality yet, and that's
Hmm.
just because it was a mini to know that that's like not a great way to approach me.
Yeah.
But like oh my God, the ball's on him. And like, also, I was like, great, my social game worked with him. Like, he wanted to save me. That's not a smart move. Like, you should go with Neo and get me
Yeah.
out. So I was like, wow, but I really appreciated that move, and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to him yet. I don't know if he wants to talk to me. I had no part in him getting voted out, but I did know Sarah wanted him out.
Yeah.
And so I was honestly really shocked listening to Ryan's interview that he thought Chatterbox was gonna go to the final five together.
Yeah, I didn't even think that was gonna happen. So,
What? No way. Not if I had anything to do with it. No way.
well,
And of
JJ
course,
was even trying to throw Neo under the bus. So,
yeah, no, he was. He was like, he's playing too messy. And then Amy was saying he was playing too messy. And I was like, well, Amy, let's take him out. And Amy didn't want to. And I was like, again, y'all keep saying like nobody knew that you two were working together. It's like you made it pretty obvious.
yeah,
Um, and then like they had Rachel and the wolves. What was it called? Werewolf.
wolf
The
pack.
little
Yeah.
pack, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
clocked those ones so early in that summit shit because it was so obvious when they were always, those three were always like suggesting each other to go. And it was like, you
Oh wait,
guys,
yeah.
come
That's
on.
why I never voted who to go to the summit ever because I was like, I'm in the middle. I don't want anybody to know where my loyalty lies. And they were all like, yeah, exactly. They were given away that they were working together. And yeah, and Rachel had kind of told us that she had that chat with them. And so we knew, and she was giving us all the information. So
Right.
no, I think Brian got hoodwinked a little bit by a lot of players.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been great. We've been chatting for 2 hours on
Great.
this.
Yeah, I'm bad about that.
No, you're good. But yeah, this has been great. This is closing the door on heroes versus villains. So great season, great winner, and glad it can be the last one for me.
Yes. Oh my God, it looks like the heart of the ocean in the
Yeah,
center.
the Queen Sarah. All right. Well, thanks so much to Corey and thanks so much to Sarah for hopping on to co-host this. And excited to see for you all to see and listen to what we have coming up next. So we'll see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.